We are back, and today I've opened up the blinds, let some natural light in here. I have in front of me 7 dupe fragrances that I consider to be on par, if not better than the original. When I say better, I don't mean outright a better fragrance, because it's not going to be. Anybody that tells you that a dupe is going to be outright better than the original, they're trying to get commission out of you. By better, I mean it's going to be just as good, but you pay a lower price point. So logically, it kind of just makes it better in a way. That's what I mean. Anyways, I wouldn't say I put these in order from worst to best, actually. I would instead say in the order of how close they are to what they're trying to clone, as well as how much I enjoy them. A little bit of both, but let's go. First up, Lattafa Camra. Listen, this is not a dupe of Angel Share. That's why I was kind of hesitant to even put it in this video. It's an inspired by of Angel Share. It really reminds me of just Christmas. Sugary, cinnamony, reminds me like an apple pie almost. This stuff is absolutely fantastic. One of my best gourmands that I have, for sure. That'll run you about 30 bucks, man. And for that price point, I feel like go with that over Angel Share, for sure. Next up is Yves Quatre, however you say it, from the House of Paris Corner. This guy is trying to dupe Afternoon Swim. Unfortunately, the performance is not much better than Afternoon Swim. That's why it's so low. The smell itself is also a little different than Afternoon Swim. This is way more orangey and way less everything else in Afternoon Swim. This is just really, really orangey. Hence why you have the orange bottle rather than something blue like Afternoon Swim has. In my opinion, Jean Lo Azur is probably a better Afternoon Swim dupe. But again, the performance on that one is not very good. It might just be a trend with these Afternoon Swim-like fragrances that with that smell, you're also going to get that performance. Could just be the notes that they use or the orange, I don't know, something like that. Something's up with these type of fragrances to where they don't last longer than 3 hours on skin. However, this smell is very, very good considering it's just oranges. It's not going to be bad. However, it doesn't really strike me as Afternoon Swim-ish. It just strikes me more of like own thing in a way. Not to say that it is very good. I'd still roll with that over Afternoon Swim. It's going to be the same performance, cost you about 35 bucks, or just go with Jean Lo Azur. Next up, Club de Nuit Limited Edition Parfum. This is a Creed Aventus dupe. Hear me out. I went and smelled Creed Aventus literally earlier today. My nose is fresh on that stuff. I can definitely tell the similarity. I would say that this is about 90% close to Creed Aventus. The 10% that throws me off is the syntheticness of this stuff. To an average nose, I don't know if they'd be able to tell the difference between Creed Aventus and Club de Nuit, but to me, I obviously can smell the difference, and it throws me off a little bit. It just seems a little synthetic. Not to say that I don't like this stuff, I really do. The syntheticness, man, that's just what throws me off. But the reason I don't put it below these two is because the performance on this is absolutely nuclear. This stuff will not come off of your skin before the 8-hour mark, I guarantee you that. Very, very, very long lasting. Projection is also insane. Sometimes even after I wash my clothes and I spray this on my clothes, I can still smell it a tiny bit. Performance is what saves this guy. I'd say that the performance is on par, if not better, than the original Creed Aventus. Rehan Elixir is next up. Now, it's kind of like an opposite of Club de Nuit, to where the performance on this is not the best, but the smell is like 95% similar to JPG La Mer Elixir. I think the only thing that I can really tell the difference between this guy and La Mer Elixir is the sweetness on it. I feel like La Mer Elixir is just a little bit sweeter, if that makes sense. La Mer Elixir does last longer. I get about 6 hours on skin with this guy. La Mer Elixir is going to give me about 8. But because of that smell, man, it's got to go above Club de Nuit, because I think for dupes, it's got to be the smell over the performance, because what you're trying to do with a dupe is you're trying to get something that smells like the fragrance that you like. Not necessarily one that performs like it. Because it's kind of given that with a dupe, you're paying that lower price point, it might not perform as well. But you get it for the smell. Next up, Jean Lo Immortelle by the House of Maison Alhambra. Now, I'm pretty sure Maison Alhambra is actually owned by Lattafa, so I'm going to count this as Lattafa. But man, dare I say, this stuff is on par, if not better smelling, than La Mansate. I mean, it smells about the same, but I feel like in the opening at least, the ginger note in here is so strong, and I absolutely love that. It's not as strong in the original La Mansate. La Mansate, for me, it gives me 7 hours on skin, give or take. I say for this one, I get like 5, which really isn't terrible because you pay about 25 bucks for this. And throughout the entire wear of the fragrance, to me, I don't know if I really notice any difference. And the little difference that I do notice between this and La Mansate, because I have a sample of La Mansate, is that I just overall, I think, like this one in the dry down a little bit better. Obviously try not to have bias, but just to my nose at the time, I feel like this smelled a little bit better. Obviously it doesn't last as long, but for 25 bucks, man, don't get La Menzite. Get this. You know what? We're gonna go with Game of Spades Full House before Wild Card. Don't get me wrong, man. This is absolutely fantastic. This will run you about 70 bucks, give or take. I sold my bottle of Full House because I now have Imagination. It's really, really close to Imagination. The performance is not good on it though. It gets me about 5 hours on skin from what I remember. And the smell, I wanna say is 90% similar, but I don't get the tea that Imagination has in this. This is lighter on the tea, heavier on the citrus, which to some people, you may prefer that. To me, I want to roll with the original Imagination. Not to say that this is bad. This is obviously second out of my 7 that I have, but man, that tea for me throws it off a little bit. In the opening though, just smelling the inside of the cap, I don't know if I can really tell that much of a difference. It's very, very close in the opening. I think the best one I'm going to roll with, I just recently picked this up, Game of Spades Wild Card. Joe Milano, they're doing their thing over there. I'm probably going to get Game of Spades Win here really soon. Maybe Game of Spades Rouge, I don't know. But they're doing some great stuff over here. This guy is a 99, and I will say that again, 99% similar to Bond number 9 Lafayette Street. This can be worn literally any day, every day, no matter what the season, what the time. This can be worn literally anywhere and everywhere. I get 6 to 7 hours of performance on this. It's better than the Game of Spades Full House performance for sure. You could seriously buy this as like a present for somebody and tell them it costs $200. And if they didn't know much about fragrances, they'd probably just accept it as a fact. It is that good. But yeah, man, this really, really impressed me. This might be one of the greatest blind buys I've ever had because I knew that Full House was good, but this, in my opinion, is the best dupe that I have in my entire collection. And maybe Win will top it, but I don't know. Only time will tell. But there we are. Those are my 7 dupe fragrances that I consider on par, if not better than the original. You guys agree? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you guys later.